slide and get your lick back. And get your lick back. Get your lick back. If a nigga owe you something, ain't no chit chat. Better stay up out the way, don't get your shit splat. Stop letting this shit slide and get your lick back. And get your lick back. I feel like I'm JX. J-Way. I'm a perfectionist. Adderall got me restless. I'm gone. Run with a wild crew, they get reckless. Young boy, come up off that neck. Into the trends. See a lead, be the band.
Good evening and welcome to another episode of Corner to Copa. I'm here with my co-host, Coach. How you feeling today on this Sunday morning? It's sunny where I'm at anyway. Sunny over there?
It's beautiful, man. There ain't a drop of snow on the ground, although we got Christmas in a few days, so I don't know how I feel. A little conflicted about that. But you know what? It was a green and white Saturday for me between my Spartan Suits team and the back-to-back NFC East champion Eagles, baby. So it's a Detroit show. I'm going to pin that right there and leave that where it's at. You know, come find a real winning Super Bowl team. Just saying. So, but we got a lot of news in the last few days, not to mention what we've had since the last show. What we got on tap, Foster? Let us know. It's December. The stockings may need to be stuffed a little bit. Bring us to the water. Bring it to the water.
Yeah, well, so I'm going to start it off. Obviously, this is Tigers appropriate, but at the same time, not so much anymore. But Akil Badu, I put he's now up on the wall. Don't need that jersey anymore. He's now moved on to the Milwaukee Brewers. So obviously, we hope the best of luck. We knew that time was coming. He's one of many corner outfielders that has struggled to find his way. Obviously, he had a hot start to his career after being a Rule 5 draft pick from the Twins, I believe. But yeah, he's now in Milwaukee, and hopefully he can get some playing time and get some opportunities. But in addition to that, we also had a trade. I don't think we talked about last week between us and the Toronto Blue Jays. We traded Chase Lee there for Johan Simon, I believe his name is, who I think he finished the year in Double-A, but he started I think in Single-A or in the Dominican League or whatever. But he kind of made his way through the system, and he's a little bit young. He's younger than Chase Lee, and so he's got a little bit more upside. Obviously, we're not going to see him immediately. But I think that Chase Lee kind of fell out of favor with the team, and he had a nice little run with us. But I want to say he ended the year on the 40-man, but he was in the minor leagues. So, any thoughts on that? I see they went out and got another sidearm guy. I think they just like the awkward arm angles guys. I think Trey Savage has the highest arm angle, and I think the guy they just signed has the lowest one. So that's just how they get down, I guess.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail right on the head. That's kind of how it was generally culminated, is that they're trying different arm slots and release angles to really add to the deception of the movement that it naturally creates. So if you see if you get all those different angles from different sides, it in theory would amplify that effect of the movement, the spin ratio, and the type of pitches that you're seeing from either side. So that's kind of what they're going all in on, and what it appears. So variety by the tenfold for the Blue Jays with those signings.
Absolutely. And we had we already talked about, I think we talked about Kyle Finnegan coming back, if I'm not mistaken, but we added an additional player to the back end of our rotation, and that is Kenley Jansen, as you see pictured in the graphic, who is a 4-time All-Star. I believe he won a World Series with the LA Dodgers, and he's like top 5 all time in saves. He's 38 years old, so he's been playing for quite some time, but he had an excellent year last year. Actually, I'm going to see if I can pull this up. He had a sub-3 ERA. I think he blew 1 or 2 saves the entire year, and he was pretty solid. I think his worst outing of the year was actually against Detroit early in the year, and then he made some adjustments and For all intents and purposes, he had an all-star year. Now, when you look at it, he's not a savant darling. You're not a whole lot of red, but you look at the statistics. We had 2.59 ERA. He had 29 saves. Yeah, good extension on his fastball. Not a lot of velocity on his fastball, but when when the extension's there and you're 6'5", it definitely creeps up on you. I think that he made an adjust. Well, the cutter is pretty much, he doesn't use a fastball. The cutter is his primary pitch, as you can see. But yeah, I mean, the K rate is not too bad, and he's efficient. Doesn't look pretty, but when you look at the fastball run value and the overall run value, I'm not mad at it. Now he is, I think, 25 saves away from. Um, is it the record? Is that what he's away from, or is he from passing somebody?
I think it's just a number milestone.
Oh, 500.
I think it's 500.
Yeah, he's 25 away from 500, and that was kind of a topic of conversation. And I don't want to say that he was, that he was embellishing, but he basically said that, the primary, objective is to win ball games. Obviously, he played the last couple years with LA, but yeah, I mean, he certainly likes to win. He played for Boston on some pretty good teams. He played for LA, and he talked about the fact that he watched the playoffs and how we were just a couple arms away, and how he wants to be a part of, closing the door and finishing, essentially finishing business. Another story about him was that he played, obviously he came up in the Dodger system. He played for the Loons, which is in Michigan, and his host family took him to Tiger Stadium way back when. They just let you know how long he's been playing how long he's been playing baseball. But that's the first picture that he posted when he moved, when he got the official word that he was going to be signing with us, is that just him in front of, he's got the baggy tee like everybody was wearing back then, and shorts, and him in front of Tiger Stadium. And that was like right before they had knocked it down. I mean, that was a long time ago. That seems kind of, maybe was he? Yeah, I think he said he was playing with the Loons. So if he started way back, let's see what
he's only 2 weeks older than me.
Oh.
July of 87.
But was he playing sports?
Sorry.
I mean, was he playing for the Tigers then?
He debuted in July. He was born actually 2 months later than me.
Okay, so he debuted in 2015, but he got knocked down.
2010, it looks like.
He was a kid, though. I don't think he was playing for, maybe he just talked about the Loons. It must not have anything to do with, he must not have been with the Loons when it happened.
Yeah, it looks like he made his MLB debut in 2010 with the Mets.
Oh, 2010.
Yeah.
Okay. But Comerica's been around since I was in 5th grade.
2001, 2002. It opened up very close to when Ford Field opened up, early 2000s.
So maybe he was just in Detroit. But yeah, he caught. Oh yeah. And then he said that he was a catcher. That's cool. Yeah, Kershaw. Yeah, he caught. He caught Kershaw. That's crazy. That is wild. So full circle. That is crazy. But yeah, so what are your thoughts? Obviously we brought back Jansen. I mean, we brought back Finnegan. We brought in Jansen. He's up there in age. We got Vest. How do you feel about the bullpen right now? Do you feel comfortable with the back end? Pause. Do you feel comfortable with the early relief? What are your overall thoughts on it?
It's I given the flurry of trades he made at the deadline, I think this was going to be better than 90% of what he made, other than Finnegan trade. We're really getting it for the playoff experience and hopefully the playoff run. So, which he's 3-2 with a 2.2 ERA with 94 Ks and 20 saves and 59 total appearances in his postseason career, which is a pretty wide breadth of experience to bring to a team that, was maybe a piece or two away from getting over the hump last year and potentially the year before. But, this is good for the bullpen in that regard. However, I think the biggest need of addressing has yet to go addressed, and I fear it's going to be not touched by the front office this offseason. But you get into a close game, you got some more experienced high leverage guys with vets now. I think probably he might even be the third best option out of that group potentially. But you've got guys that can dominate the seventh, eighth, and ninth innings now. Now it's a matter of rotating in your lefties that you have and keeping that blend and back and forth mismatch exposure that AJ can find to his advantage.
Yeah, I agree. Hmm.
Question is, will Kenley Jansen come out with having thrown 90 pitches after 6 innings? But that's just me.
Well, he did talk to AJ about 5 out saves, but I certainly hope that he gets nowhere near 90 and has to worry about that. That was a shot at somebody else, and if you know, you know. Well, okay. Well, so let's get into the part that is. Does that get into is that going to take us down the wormhole of the Scott Harris thing if we address what won't be touched? Is that something that we can?
We could, if you want to rip through some of the other league stuff first, and that way we can really sink our teeth into what we've seen so far this offseason and the comments more recently from Harris between the end of the postseason run when they did your locker cleanout day back in October to now. I think there's a bit to unpack and maybe let off a little December steam.
Oh, well, you know what? Before we get into around the league, let's talk about the hot news that just came off the press yesterday, and that was the DFAing of Justin Henry Malloy to make room for Kyle Finnegan. Now, this really has nothing to do with Kyle Finnegan. That was a necessary situation. We knew that because I looked at it when they said that Lee was being traded, meaning that he was being pulled off. They said there was there was a corresponding deal to, make room for Kenley Jansen, but it was still a question of, okay, but what does that have to do with Finnegan? So now that we've all agreed to all the terms with Finnegan, which if you have the details, I'll allow you to do that. But the person that they removed from it is Justin Henry Malloy. Now, we've talked to nauseum about how it just never seemed like he was, being held to as far as priorities. Sweeney was that guy that was moved up anytime somebody was injured. Malloy didn't really have a defensive position. He was behind a Carpenter, a Perez, a Veerling when he was healthy, and everybody else in the outfield. Honestly, they tried him at first base. I don't really know how good he was at first base, but Torkelson pretty much plays every day, and Torkelson pretty much plays every day, and then Carpenter plays. He bounced back and forth between DH and right field, and then he got the days off against lefties. But once Veerling returned, once they decided to bring Veerling back, you started kind of playing the numbers like, well, is it Wenceel Perez or Malloy? But we know Perez was up all last year the minute he was healthy. So yeah, I figured a trade was coming eventually with somebody within that group. But it looks like he's going to be, just kind of go through the progressions of how things could play out, and where do you see Malloy ending up? Do you see him making it all the way back to Toledo, or what?
Yeah, so the formality of this move was tied to Finnegan's contract finally being signed and all the terms agreed to yesterday. So because of that, he now comes back onto the 26-man as a free agent. The weird, ins and outs of this. So the Finnegan deal was 2 years, $16.75 million, with a $10 million mutual option that both sides must agree to on for potentially in 2028. So up to 3 years in total service time for Finnegan, 2 for sure. The Chase Lee trade going out to Toronto for the prospect we named earlier was also kind of corresponding, but the 1-for-1 trade move, roster move was Justin Henry Malloy, and I don't see him staying with Toledo. If he doesn't get claimed on the waiver wire, I see a team potentially jumping ahead of another team in their division or ahead of them in the potential playoff picture, or teams that were right there last year, maybe needing a new piece, and they think that could get him over the hump. Because to your point, last year in AAA, and the numbers show it, he had a very good year as a production hitter and with more power in Toledo than he had before. So it's a shame it didn't work out in Detroit. I think, to your point, he's been a guy we would like to have seen more this past year, but after they got Jahmai Jones in the spring training and how well he was, it seemed evident that he was going to probably be sticking around. Some of the early offseason injury or early season injuries that we were dealing with, and Vierling and Parker Meadows. So, this is the Scott Harris effect. You have all these younger guys under team control playing similar positions, and someone has to go. In this case, it's JHM.
Yeah, and the power was good at the minor league level. For some reason, I can't. It's 2025. Nah. Well, yeah, it was kind of good. So I don't know. I feel like he made some adjustments. He, as you can see, his debut year, he had 8 home runs, and to me, it seemed like he was hitting more, hard line drives. He hit 8 home runs. He hit only one. He only hit one at the was at the major league. Did he hit a home run at the major league level? I guess he did. And he didn't hit many home runs in spring training either. But as you can see, he had almost as many runs in half the at bats. Yeah, and he was getting
a little bit more of a patient hitter too, right? He was taking less strikes.
He always took a lot of walks.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he always took a lot of walks, but I mean, for his on-base percentage to be that much higher, it's pretty obvious he was just getting more singles than anything. Well, you can look at the spray chart and see that he, had a lot more singles than usual. So, I mean, it was promising, but I just think that there was just no room for him. There wasn't a position, and he just didn't show enough offensively. As you can see, the chase rate, he didn't expand his zone. He walked a boatload, but he wasn't making a lot of hard contact, less hard contact than last year, I want to say. Let me see. Let me pull it up.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of the minor league numbers for his improvement happened earlier in the season this past year after he was sent down for, I think, several weeks before he even got close to another call-up. I think at that stretch is when he finally started to look like he was turning the corner, because he started hitting some home runs in Toledo and ripping doubles off the wall, driving in RBIs, and becoming that 3 through kind of 6 little. I'm not going to say true power bat, but he was starting to provide a little more protection around that lineup in Toledo.
Yeah, I mean, by that point, that lineup was stacked. I mean, they had Valencia, they had Young all year, they had Ibanez for a while. But yeah, you look at the spray chart last year, he was definitely hitting for more power. I mean, more opportunities, but he was hitting for a lot more power last year. And I don't know. My hope is that we can at least get some type of value for him if somebody is willing to trade. We threw out some projected trades, and we could definitely use some pitching. So I don't know what his value would be, but I mean, as far as his ranks I feel like his rank amongst the system, I mean, if he can still rank, because maybe he doesn't rank at all, but yeah, I think there's some value there. I think that if he went to a team that just needed some bats or had some room for him, like I think the Nationals, the Pirates, maybe the Diamondbacks, because they're kind of retooling, the Cardinals, because I don't really know what they got going on, but they're kind of trading off everybody. So he'll land. I think he'll land somewhere. He's a power right-handed bat. He obviously gets on base. I mean, 364 on base is great. I mean, not great, but that's like above that. I don't know. I think anywhere in the mid 300s is solid. So He's going to get on base, and it's just a matter of him, putting some more lift on the ball, really. But yeah, we elaborated on that. We'll see. We'll provide an update once a decision is made upon where he is headed. But let's get to the first break, and then we're gonna talk about what's going on around the league. A lot more action going on post winter meetings, as far as trades, free agency. But what are the notable ones that kind of jumped out to you?
Well, yeah, it kind of flurried over the last few days here. I think we mentioned it the last show. Once the first couple tier one kind of dominoes fell, the rest of the market for those positions would start to fall in line. Everyone doesn't want to be the first, but also kind of wants to be the first player to be signed, so they can kind of get it over with. But we had a lot of buzz here the last few days. I think to start it, to your point, we had targeted potentially for middle infielder as a backup option. Other than Bo Bichette was Hai-Song Kim, who returned to the Braves on a 1-year, $20 million deal, who either signed or picked him up through waivers last year throughout the season. So they're kind of rekindling that for another year as they get healthy. Boston made a trade with Washington for some prospect swaps. One of their players, I think, was coming off Tommy John, so some depth there. The New York Mets signing Jorge Polanco, 2 years, $40 million, middle infield, but probably mostly for the bat after what he did to us and others in the world playoffs last year. Arizona signed Merrill Kelly, going back to them after they traded him to Texas last year at the deadline. Detroit also a name that was potentially involved. I put no stock in that. 2-year, $40 million deal for Arizona. Let's see here. Atlanta also signed closer Robert Suarez, 3 years, $45 million. I think we touched on in the show last time. And Mikey Yastrzemski, 2 years, $23 million with a club 30-year option. Briefly, Toronto and the Tyler Rogers sidearm, 3-year, $37 million deal with a 4th-year vesting option. And we'll get into more maybe Toronto a little bit later too, but they're definitely a team that's been they're going all in for this. Kind of like what we would like to have seen Detroit do somewhat with Scooble. Toronto is going full 2026 mode here. Recently, just the other day, yesterday, Orioles acquired Shane Baez from Tampa Bay, starting pitcher for along with Gregory Soto signing to the Pirates 1-year, $7.75 million deal. Pittsburgh acquired via trade. This was kind of low key. All-star second baseman Brandon Lowe from Tampa Bay. To your point, after they went and made a legitimate offer, Pittsburgh and Cincinnati for Schwarber. Pittsburgh has been active in the market, both free agency and trade potential here. So they are making some legitimate efforts here to surround Skeens with some offensive power to maybe sneak in as a wild card. So props to them for trying to do something that our front office just refuses to do. Aside from that, that trade included Houston. So Pittsburgh got left-hand pitcher Mason Montgomery and outfielder Jake Magnum. Houston got right-hand pitcher Mike Burrows, which I thought we had a prospect pitcher named Burrows at one point too. Bo Burrows years ago. Tampa also received 2 prospects, or Houston received 2 prospects as a result in that deal to help offset. But I thought the Gregory Soto one, because it was late, and considering that we signed Kenley Jansen, and this is a guy obviously who just pitched for us a few years ago, who was an all-star too, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, or
he was pretty volatile though.
Yeah,
but he good numbers though. I mean, I think he was good last year with.
Yeah, he was good. I think one of the last years we had him, I think when we traded him on that year where it's well, we'll get something. But
I think we traded him for Vierling and
that's right. He did go to the Phillies.
Phil Maton or whatever.
Yep. Nick Maton.
Nick Maton.
Outfielder. Yep.
Yes.
Yeah.
The Wolf.
he was defanged in Detroit, unfortunately.
Oh man.
But yeah, that's pretty much in terms of high level the last handful of days going back to the last show. But I think too the one in division, Chicago White Sox this morning breaking before the show started, signing Japanese slugging star Murakami to a 2-year, $34 million deal, which kind of speaks volumes to the fact that a hitter like him, who's had some established success, is going to a team that was 2 years ago was the worst. Last year, a bit better. So it'll be interesting to see how he fares in a major league park against some of the knocks that more recently against him about hitting around fastballs and missing on true strike pitch locations.
Yeah, I mean, they said that it pitches above 92 or something like that. His average was like 95, which some people say
Yeah.
he'll adjust. There's not as much velocity in Japan, but I mean, can you imagine trying to adjust to like going from batting like BP fastballs to like everybody throws 95 is like slow. Like, I mean, that's like it's not BP fast,
Yeah.
but like
That's
that's
like average.
yeah,
League average.
So I don't know. It's pretty obvious that there wasn't a ton of. I mean, he was running out of time. I think he had like 3 days left to
He
make.
gets till 5 p.m. tonight.
Okay, yeah. So for him to end up in the White Sox for 17 million a year, I would have to think that. I mean, I don't want to throw Scott Harris out there. We know he's not aggressive at all, but it's like, I mean, if you really wanted him, you could have sprung for it. Obviously, lefty was not a high priority for us. He does play third base, albeit not very good. I don't think. I think he
True.
was like
No. Below
either third.
average.
Yeah, I think you could play either third or first. Third was kind of I mean, I wouldn't have been pissed about it just because of the potential of what he could have meant because, Japanese players have really, it's been hot lately. The pitchers anyways. I don't know when the last good Japanese position player outside of Otani came around, but it would have been fun. It would have been exciting. But yeah, I highly doubt there was much interest. The fact that it took that long and he ended up going to the White Sox, good move for them. Great for just marketing and excitement because they haven't really made any big moves outside of selling away players. Most of their stock is in their youth. So we'll see now somebody to contend with us. I wanted to touch on the Pirates trade. This is a good move for him. He's going into I think this is an expiring deal. But they have so much pitching. I mean, they only lost one player, and it was a pitcher, and it wasn't somebody that I was too familiar with. But they have just a ton of pitching right now. But in the end, they get a guy that hits for a ton of power. He's going to strike out and he's going to swing and miss quite a bit, and he's not going to play any defense, but he's going to mash, and that's exactly what they want. He had 21 home runs the last 2 years, and this most recent year he hit 31. Pittsburgh is a pretty batter friendly ballpark, right?
Pittsburgh, yeah, it's a little more hitter friendly than.
I feel like it's a short porch that way because they hit it into the water over there, don't they?
Well, you can, but it's like 30 rows, 35 rows. You got to
smack it
to get into not McCovey Cove, but the Allegheny River there in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's one of the most beautiful backdrops in baseball. I mean, it's probably a top 5 backdrop. Midwest, location right off the water, similar to Detroit. I mean, yeah, if they get some friendly jet streams out there, he could end up hitting some moonshots that we've seen other big bopping lefties put out over there or other famous right field walls.
Ryan says he can't hit. His 93
we're about to find out.
whiff rate is bad. Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. I don't know. Maybe he can adjust. I mean, if I'd be curious to see if he's a bat to ball guy or a strikeout guy. If he's a strikeout guy, it's going to be a rough adjustment for him because I mean, okay, you're a slap hitter, or you're somebody that is willing to, just make contact. Yeah, then you can adjust to anything. But if you're swinging for the fences every time and you're trying to adjust to, Miller, what's the guy? There's a guy. No, the guy that's on San Diego, Miller. He throws 103. So good night. That's over with. And then they got a guy in on the Angels closer, and he throws 104 or 10, like he doesn't have a chance.
Yeah, I'll say this with that with the increased speed and pitch velocity the last couple of years around the game, like college pros, there's a lot of additional arm injuries. So I don't know how often these batters are seeing these guys that if health wasn't a thing and everyone stayed, available throughout the season, yeah, I would think numbers would dictate a strong regression or at least a very bad start to begin improving. But you look at all these guys that throw that hard. I mean, they're going on the shelf every other year. Tommy Johnson, you know what I mean? So I think they're banking on this, and I'm summarizing this generally speaking. Japanese baseball, to your point, less velocity, more about finesse and movement. And that's what we've seen a lot here in the U.S., in North America in the last 5-6 years for baseball.
Finesse, movement, and velocity. Oh, like all in one. Not.
Yeah, but a lot of the pitchers, I mean, you look at the guys that throw heat like that, the bulk of them that are not starters, we'll say bullpen guys, they're like a 2-pitch, 3-pitch pitcher. That's it. So if you're going to sit breaking ball and you're going to let that fastball go, then okay, then it's about just making ball back contact on the fastball and letting the speed and the velocity drive the power off the bat. But that's just kind of my general approach of how they might be seeing it in terms of what they're hoping to get from out of year one. But he's got a lot of divisional good arm talent to go up against. So it'll be interesting to see what he does.
Imagine him versus Scooble.
Lefty on lefty, baby. I like it. So
yeah, for sure. Yeah, definitely.
I mean, swords.
I don't want to get down the pirate wormhole too much, but this is what their projected lineup looks like right now. Not great, but not bad. I'm actually surprised how old the lineup is. It's not like they have a ton of young talent, for a team that doesn't like to spend money. Just a bunch of old cheap dudes.
I can see on that team Jake Rogers.
Oh wow! I mean, he's probably an upgrade over Joey Bart, just barely, maybe. But I tell you what, if that team goes out and gets a Eugenio Suarez in the middle of that lineup,
boy,
it could get interesting. I mean, and it says right on the tweet here, if you can see Connor Griffin. I think he's getting an opportunity to try to make the team out of out of spring training. It still probably won't happen, but. Yeah, I mean, he'll actually have a little protection. Brandon Lowe, I mean, Brian Reynolds.
veteran, been around a while.
Yeah.
It's good to see him bring in some veteran leadership to kind of help out with that youth. I feel like Pittsburgh's had just oodles of youth in the last handful of years. So
McCutchen, if they bring McCutchen back, that's another guy. Even though he's just kind of playing just to play, I don't know.
He's got to be near the end. If it's not this year, then I think maybe he's already seen his last. Because I think technically his contract ended last year with them. So if he comes back, it might be like a farewell tour, which he's earned. He's been a very good teammate and a good locker room guy, and he spent 80-90% of his career in Pittsburgh for the most part. So that'd be a nice way for them to kind of close that story, if you will, if it comes to it. But they could be a trade deadline away from being a wild card team too. So
I mean,
we'll see what happens.
They have so much pitching. Like, it's not like they have to score 100 runs. Like, just give Skeens 3 runs and you're green. You're good to go. They have a good bullpen too. I saw there was see, I'm gonna get too far off down the wormhole. This will be a pirate show, but I saw a projected trade involving Dennis Santana. I can't remember how it went, but anywho, let's get to Mr. Scott here. Is there anything else that we need to talk about? I think we pretty much covered
Royals.
The Royals. Okay, so let's talk the division. We got going down the Chicago White Sox thing a little bit, but the Royals have been very active. Let's see if we can find Royals free agents. All right. Okay, there we go. That's one way to do it. All right. So this is a team that I expect to contend with us, the Guardians. I mean, they'll always kind of compete, but I don't, they don't, they're, who knows? But the most active team in the entire in the entire division has been the Kansas City Royals. They see some of these are last year. Oh yeah, okay. So this is what they've done so far this year. They traded for Lane Thomas, which great defensive player, but depth outfield position. They traded for Isaac Collins, who was, I think he played for the Brewers, but I don't think he was an everyday player, but solid as far as I'm concerned. So it's not looking all that great. Matt Strom, though, that was a good move for them. I think they already have a pretty good, strong pitching staff as a whole, from starting in bullpen. They traded one of their bullpen guys to the Nationals, I think, for a minor league guy. And this Jaron Duran, that's just a trade potential that hasn't happened. They also signed Alex Lang, who's a very familiar face to us.
That's right. That was early after we DFA'd him. Yeah.
Yes. They picked him right up. So they were like, oh, y'all tripping. You getting rid of him? So damn. Okay, they got rid of Yastrzemski. What else have they done?
They re-signed and locked up their all-star third baseman, Mikhail Garcia, 5 years,
that dude
$57 million.
A tiger killer. That dude down the stretch, it was basically just him.
Yeah. So they got him for 5 years with a potential team option for 2031. So up to 6 years in total extension length for Mikhail Garcia. Sorry. With with other bonuses and whatnot. Yeah. Okay. So 5 years, 57.5, but bonuses could incentivize it up to $85.3 million potentially over the life of the contract.
That's a good deal for him. He gets, he's where he wants to be. He gets to, he's set for life now, and he has an opportunity to make a little bit more money. And then by the end of it, I don't know, he'll probably be in his 30s, but
the Lane Thomas signing, I think it's kind of it's overscored because of what he did to us 2 years ago. But he was hurt almost all last year. He barely played last year, and he was not very good. So I think they're taking a flyer and hoping that he's a lightning in the bottle player for them this year.
Yeah, and when you look at the depth chart, obviously they have Salvador Perez, who's an amazing player. Vinny Pasquantino is somebody that I always hated to see coming up. They have a pretty strong closer as well. Urseg. Well, actually, Carlos Estevez is the closer, but Urseg is pretty solid. Obviously, Bobby Witt. That just goes without saying. So they're probably still a bat away because Kyle Isbell, like, who is that? And then Jack Caglione, obviously, they're hoping that he can make that jump because he tore it up in the minor leagues, but he didn't do too much of anything in the majors this last year.
Didn't he miss some time when he a little bit?
I think he did get hurt.
Called up. It may not have been more than 2-3 weeks, but I know that kind of slowed his progression down. Like probably his second month with the club, and then he really, like you said, the rest of the way he was just kind of just a present body. But definitely look for him to make an improvement his second year.
Yeah, India wasn't very good. Yastrzemski was actually a nice shot in the arm at the trade deadline. I was actually kind of surprised that they didn't bring him back, but he is I think they said he's 35 years old or something like that. So they're
was with the Giants for a long time.
I didn't realize how long he was there. Yeah. But
I think he came up kind of in the middle of the Buster Posey era. That's kind of putting it in perspective.
And now he's
Posey's been in the front office for what, 2-3 years now?
So I think they want to. I mean, like I said, the Jaron Duran is always an option, but which actually kind of makes sense, especially if they want to put him in center field and strengthen the center field. But I would assume they're looking for Jack Caglione to take over that role that Yastrzemski had, and be that guy. But they're gonna be tough. They have some good starting pitching. Seth Lugo, Michael Wacha, Cole Reagans. So yeah, they were just kind of a bat away, but I expect them to be a pest. I mean, I expect everybody to be a pest in the AL Central. Yeah, but that's that. We're 38 minutes in. Let's get to this last break, and we're going to get into the they're going to get. Any other thoughts about the Royals before we get to the break?
I think in terms of divisional teams, I think the only one that I'm not really afraid of at all, considering they haven't really done much, and I think maybe with some of these additional moves with Murakami this morning and the Royals doing kind of a handful of depth micro moves to try and help smooth out some of their positions. The Twins, I'm not afraid of for next year. I think it's just potentially I don't want to say a 3-team race, but there's 3 teams that could be in the mix with really just Detroit and Cleveland, in my opinion, being really the only 2. White Sox could make a jump up, but I don't expect them to be a legitimate threat this year. They're still figuring it out. But I will say, in their last couple of big trades over the last few years, Garrett Crochet, Chris Sale, going back a few more before that, I think you're starting to see some of the fruit of those trades, and it's really putting them on a faster track of improvement. Because just 2 years ago, they were the worst team in baseball, not just that year, but in the last – going back to our 04 season with 119 losses, it was that bad historically.
Yeah, almost ever. I think the Rockies ended up outdoing them a year later, which is just like,
there was a graphic.
Hold my beer on a worst year.
Did you see that? The worst team in Major League Baseball, going back to the last 10 to 15 years, and maybe even a bit further, if I'm not mistaken, possibly 20, has either been the White Sox or the Rockies every single year. That's incredible. But I don't see the White Sox being that abysmal this year. So, but that's it in terms of divisional jockeying, if you will, this offseason. But Detroit, a little more to be desired so far this offseason.
All right, we'll be right back. All right. So I actually had an opportunity to revisit the Scott Harris, words about the future and addressing the bat. It was kind of funny how the guy asked it because he emphasized not just help just signing anybody. We're talking specifically about the offense, and I just hate Scott Harris's tone, but because it's just so But anyways,
tell us how you think it feels. Come on, we want to hear you put the word to it.
It's just so I don't know. He just reminds me of not somebody I dislike, but he just reminds me of I'm not gonna go there. Just what did he say?
It's dodging. He's becoming. He hasn't really dodged questions, but when to your point about the follow up about offensive bat help, he was just kind of dodging. Yes, we're leading into that, right?
I don't know about that,
but he's no longer addressing it, and the whole Scooble saga just makes it more awkward. And his comments about the guys internally and growing and developing. Okay, dude, we've heard that shtick for 2+ years now, and we're not doubting his ability to draft. I don't think anyone in the league is really doing that so far. TBD still, because let's be honest, some of these players that are up right now that are in their mid-20s were not his picks. So I will say, in their development since he's come on board, that's been a success generally. I'm not going to say that he's the sole reason why these players are so good because he didn't take them, but I digress back to the main point here. He just won't answer the question about spending money. It's not that hard, but you're now projected to be no higher than the payroll you were at last year, maybe within a certain reason, but it's not, moving the needle. And you've watched all these other teams, sure, to a degree, like the Blue Jays have really gone all in. Baltimore came out of nowhere, honestly, the last couple of weeks, and they've really put an emphasis back on, all right, last year's last year. We're going to be right in the middle of this gauntlet AL East now that's just loaded. TBD with Bregman if Boston remarries for him for a few more years. That division, I think, easily then becomes the most challenging division in baseball with the NL West.
Easily.
And you look at it around the landscape, you're like, damn, we were a few games away from winning the division. Painful subject. Won't go into detail about that last year. But, they did nothing to help the core guys that they're trying to develop. And I'm afraid he's putting all the pressure on these kids, kind of, mid-20s, to do it all themselves. and some of their core pieces can't stay healthy the last 2 years. So what the hell are we doing? I don't know. It's giving smartest man in the room syndrome,
Yes,
and I'm
yes,
sick of it.
yes.
I'm sick of it. He's no longer borderline delusional. He is 1 foot into the grave and cemented. He can't get that foot out. Because depending on how the Scooble situation pans out, if we walk away with him from next to nothing, I am putting a stamp on a no vote confidence with this GM, despite what may happen during the year. Because let's be frank, if this team is not in a playoff position at the deadline, that is going to be some of the most awkward weeks with Scooble starts at home leading up to the trade deadline. Even if we don't, I mean, I feel like we'll get rid of him at that point, because why not? You're not going to win anything at that point if that's the case. But I got to give you 2 cents here. But delusional, strongest man in the room syndrome are my 2 terms of phrase for Scott Harris.
So, okay. I get what he's trying to say. He's alluding to one. Well, he's talking about what is this? Hold on.
You don't even know. You're trying to maybe back him, and you can't.
No. I'm not really trying to back him. I'm trying to yeah. So I'm trying to multitask a little bit. Shit, this tab is it. Okay. So.
But he's creating this mystique aura that doesn't need to be,
Yeah. He's Scotty. He's Scotty. But so
Scotty doesn't know.
I get that he's talking about the trajectory and the progression that the players he currently has, as far as, for all intents and purposes, Carpenter had his best year. Torque improved. He used Dylan Dingler as a point of emphasis. I don't think Green had a better year, but he did rake for a good amount of the year. So he's looking at it from a perspective of, when he looks at the progression and the trajectory of where they're going, they're good with a lot of their core, I guess. Did I mention Torkelson? I mean, Torkelson.
Yeah.
So he improved. He had his best year yet. Whatever the case may be. So he obviously doesn't want to toy. He doesn't want to toy with that. When you look at the start of 2025, this is a little misleading in a sense. Not so much the Rodgers to Dingler, because that was authentic progression. Dingler became the better player, and that is an improvement from how we started the year. Torres and Baez stay the same. We went from Ibanez to Keith as the current third baseman. Green is the same, obviously. Kreidler to Meadows. Now, Kreidler was only a starter because Meadows was hurt out the gate. Margot was only the starter because Perez was injured out the gate. And then obviously Carpenter takes over at DH because Keith got moved off first for Torque. I think because Keith started slow, maybe. Is that
he did. Remember, he had to open second straight year. He was slow, and he opened about his struggles mentally, and then after that, he kind of slowly improved throughout the rest of the year.
Yes. But yes, as database hit says, rinse and repeat, time to add a bat. I would agree. Because the Kreidler thing is misleading, and the Kreidler and Margot thing are misleading. That was a very disgusting opening lineup, and the Dodgers, destroyed us, because that's how we fielded versus the Dodgers, and we didn't see them for the rest of the year. That's how we started. So that was a little weird and awkward, but we actually, after the Dodgers got off to a smoking hot start and kept it going up until September. So I don't want to say I don't know how it happened, but that gave Harris that false sense of, whatever. Now, as far as him saying that this is the same, but we're not the same, I think some of the beginning and ending alluded to it, but the ending was also very discouraging. We could not hit at the end of it. nobody was hitting besides, I want to say, Javi Baez and Kerry Carpenter, right?
Yeah.
Jahmai Jones, I guess, but you don't see a lot of lefties, so you don't get many opportunities. That is one thing that he can hang his hat on. You got, and now we need him to, come back with the same, we need him to come back with the same success, because this was his first year. This was the most at bats he had ever had. He's like 20. Jones is older. He's not super young. So it makes you wonder, was this kind of the best he could do? He had 129 at bats. I mean, great season. Only 21 runs. Yeah, I mean, 21 runs. He had 7 home runs. So a third of his runs came off of home runs. But he is 28 years old. When's his birthday? He might be pushing 30. I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah. He's definitely out of options. I can tell you that much. If they re-sign him and he gets DFA'd, he'll be on the waiver wire list.
Oh, 8 August. So he won't be 29. So this is, he's peaking now. But I'll be curious. He had a great spring training. Still managed to not make the team out of camp. They went out and got Manuel Margot instead, who got hurt and never came back. Just hilarious. And it's not in the league. So that just lets you know how ridiculous that signing was to me. Now, granted, he was good. He was good that first series. But, I mean, his body had to have been breaking down at that point because he never recovered. Well, you know what? He did recover. He played in AAA, and he was shitty in AAA. So they just never brought him back. So at any rate, Jones smashed. He's 28, so he's kind of but he's got pedigree. He was a second round pick. So it's not like he didn't start out with high, expectations. So we'll see. I really hope that he will continue the success that he had, because he was fun to watch. I mean, his first at bat, I'll never forget it, was a home run against the Cubs this was a Skubal pitch. This was a game that Skubal pitched. But his first ever at bat was a home run, and he continued to. He was our best leadoff hitter, and he hit, I think, 2 or 3 leadoff home runs throughout his time last year. And I say he saved our season. He was the only one hitting late in the year, and just every big opportunity he had, he capitalized. So part of the reason why Malloy is gone, because they serve the same purpose. DH, righty, lefty specialist, but he played considerably better than Malloy. So that's that. Let's look at the best remaining. Is there a good way to find the best remaining free agents? Because honestly, there's still a lot of meat on the bone out there. Damn. This is a prediction one. Maybe that's a good one. Yeah, well, we can kind of scroll through. But any other thoughts before we get into the best remaining free agents? Because there's still some guys out there.
Yeah, I mean, based on everything we've seen last year and this year, I don't see a spending reason why we're even in conversations with these guys, even though I'd love to be in with just one, not asking for much, saying that one precedent this year, and we can't get it. We can't get one. Yeah, but I don't know. We've said it offline. I mean, it's like, at this point, the frustration is so palpable, and it's growing. It's going to grow until spring training, when we finally get games again, and we can kind of shove Harris into a cupboard and put a muzzle on him for a month or two. I'm so frustrated, and I'm afraid his approach, depending on what happens with Scooble, because there's a lot that's going to happen, because I think it's already hurting some fans in terms of their fandom, if you will. maybe going to as many games, buying as much stuff, spending as much money as Chris Hellich has been all of a sudden jacking up ticket prices in the last year or two as well. And those gaudy, god-awful
Oh my God.
VIP seats behind home plate, they're always empty, collecting dust. He's going to fracture this fan base if this does not pan out. But at the same time, I'm not going to crown him king for some new method. This is just Moneyball 20 years later in a major market that he's trying to make like a cute little boutique out of. No, this is Detroit. This is not a little upscale, swanky New York suburb area. No, this is Detroit.
But that's kind of, but I feel like
let's go.
Scott Harris, but you know what? Scott Harris kind of embodies like somebody that should be a GM in, well, he came from San Francisco, so we know how fine dine, how that is. And I can't remember where else the Cubs too. So I really feel like he doesn't realize that this is not that. But I didn't read these. I missed this in real time because I was going on my whatever. Tigers are in for profit, not to win. Oh God. He started with talking about the Dodgers.
Well, I mean, if you never spend, I guess you're always going to be almost in profit. Major League Baseball TV revenue sharing. So yeah.
I mean, I guess unless nobody comes to the games, but I guess we've been so good that they do show up to the games. Trajectory of not being able to hit. That's hilarious. Tigers profit $350 million. Payroll only $155. Really? Is that what oh my God.
We didn't really start packing that place until midsummer anyways, even the year beforehand.
Well, that's only going to happen. I mean, part of that is because it's snowing and raining until like June. Literally, I went to some rainouts in June, like on June 18th. I want to say I went to or 16th, one of those. And it was raining like crazy. It rained a lot this year.
June is also
the game. Remember the game we went to? The Guardians game. Horrible. And we got killed. Schoolboy pitched, so we probably scored 2 runs. The Cubs game, when they trade him to LA, I'm gonna be sick. I mean,
that's the other thing too. That rumor got hot last weekend, and we thought it
disappeared.
It's almost a done deal. It's just a couple of things here and there they need to finalize. It's like if that was the case, I know we were talking about it, and Ryan too, our other buddies. It's like just rip the Band-Aid off, get it done. Seal the wound up, cauterize it. You know what I mean? Let's start healing now, and let's move on for the next couple years. But
and then somebody came out and said, "Nah, that's some bullshit," and then it disappeared. So I tend to believe it might have been some BS. I saw Glass now say something about and then somebody was like, "Somebody tell him he's involved in that." but you know what? With our luck, he probably wasn't involved in it. It probably was a bunch of prospects. I just really don't want to leave that situation being like, who are these people? Like I need it to be. I need it to be appealing. Especially if he goes to LA. If you don't hit them upside the head for everything that we're not going to get Mookie Betts or any Freeman or anything like that, but you better crack that head for some good prospects. I mean, these guys will never see the light of day in LA anyway. So,
it's not like they don't draft well either. They pretty much have to in order to pull some of these trades off to get these Freemans and Mookie Betts with those 8-year contracts. So,
all right, I'm kind of surprised Kyle Tucker's still out there. We're moving forward. This is the tail end of the show here. We're the best remaining because yes, we are annoyed by Scott Harris, but he still has a couple opportunities to throw out some BS contracts and disappoint us in the end. Because there are some guys out there. Kyle Tucker, they're saying to Philly.
Framber Valdez is out. I mean, some of these names we've been linked to since last year, and it's like, okay, Kyle Tucker, I'm sorry, Detroit's not on the short list. Let's just cut to the chase there. He's either going to go back to Houston. I don't know if the Cubs are very.
You think that Houston wants to spend because you look at the projected amount of years that he's asking for, because this is like a Bryce Harper where he's in like a 10-year deal. This is the peak of his career. I don't think Houston does that. That's why they traded him in the first place, right?
Well, I think they were. I think it became a. They just had other guys behind him that were probably not as expensive, honestly, and they knew with some of the other guys going out, like Carlos Correa a few years ago, some of those other key contributors that were coming off the books. I don't think they were sold on just flat out giving him an extension that year when they were shedding other contracts. They wanted to give him an opportunity to win elsewhere. But I think his desire to go back after he was traded to Chicago is kind of what fueled some of that offline rumor of him wanting to go back. But yeah, to your point, terms are going to be the end of it. If he doesn't get the terms there, I imagine he could go back to Chicago or go still to Houston on, maybe a little less friendlier player contract. But yeah, he's still out there. He's a good playoff bat, solid outfielder for production, lefty, been there in the moment. He's going to be a good locker room guy for any team that signs him. And yeah, I think we've all talked to death in the last 14 months about Alex Bregman. I don't think there's anything more that really needs to be said about him. And frankly, considering he's asking for more than what we offered last year, I don't want him. I just don't.
And it's crazy you mentioned Bregman. It's crazy that we beat them because when you look at the top free agents right now, Tucker, Bregman, Valdez, they had Hader, they had Altuve, they had everybody.
Yanier Diaz, I think, too.
They had Diaz, but they also got the Alvarez, whatever his name is.
Jordan Alvarez,
that team was Jordan. That team was stacked.
Yep.
That's crazy.
But it just kind of speaks to what Houston was going through last year, missing the playoffs and having Altuve play left field for 80, 90 games. And that was
fun to watch.
I'll say it only in Houston because it's comical because when originally it opened up as Minute Maid Park a few years after Comerica opened, they had that silly center field hill that they named it after someone that just destroyed ankles, created doubles and triples on balls that would have been on a warning track otherwise. But I guess win in Houston applies to win in Rome.
Yeah.
And Cody Bellinger also is another name out there still too, who I'm intrigued to say that he's still not even close to a deal.
There was something, I don't know if it was real, but his asking price was astronomical. It was like 8 years, 400 or something crazy. I had to just laugh at I just commented laughing emojis and moved forward. But when you talk about Houston, they do have a couple. They did have a couple. Now, first of all, they got a nice piece back in Cam Smith from the Cubs, who made the team out of camp, and they weren't expecting that. So it would be a nice culmination if Tucker did come back. But they just traded Jacob Melton, another one of their young. And I actually vividly remember him playing because we swept Houston at the end of the year. One of the few good moments we had was sweeping Houston. But they just traded Jacob Melton. Was it to Tampa? He went somewhere. But that kind of opens up one of those corner outfield spots if they were going to try to bring in a Tucker. But let's scroll down a little bit more and see what else. Okay, there goes Cody Bellinger. Cincinnati, yeah, that'd be nice. 6 years, 180. That's pretty reasonable. He's 30, but he's still
like 20 million a year or 30 million a year. Yeah,
30. Yeah. Yes, his initial.
God, he's 31.
Yeah,
I wouldn't be giving him more than 4, honestly, in terms of terms. 4 years.
That's ideal, but the thing is that everybody knows the sweet spot. Like for Scooble, 8 sounds crazy, but 6 sounds.
5 to 6. I think that's where I'd be willing to go.
But you're gonna have, but a team like us is gonna have to offer more, which is sad because we're the original. We should be, whatever. But
we should be able to match and not be jumped by someone just by matching. You would,
but
think.
It's gonna be tough to match LA and think, Detroit. Like, nah, you're just not gonna do it. I always forget about the Japanese guys. Are still Tatsui Imai. He's still he's probably running out of time too. Bo Bichette, I think that's off the table now. The Atlanta one is off the table now with them signing Kim. 5 years, 130. See, 5 years isn't bad. He's 28.
What did you think? I'm just curious because we've mentioned it before, and I think it's interesting. How much would you have given Hassan Kim for 1 year to come here, knowing that Atlanta gave him 20 for one?
Not 20.
Yeah.
Probably 15, maybe.
Okay.
He's got speed. Great glove. He can put him anywhere, and he's a contact guy. Yes, give us Bo. He
That'd be
turned
nice.
he turned things around last year. He was obviously good in the playoffs. I think he would like to go back to Toronto, but I think once that Kyle Tucker once that falls, I mean, unless they plan on getting them both, but I mean, I think that Tucker is going to milk them for everything.
Yeah. I think also too, Bo might be taking longer because remember he was hurt for a lot of the last 2 months of the year, and it didn't even seem like he was going to be eligible until they got as deep as they did. So
yeah, that was crazy. Yeah, he was. Yeah,
I think there's some medical stuff going on that I think teams are trying to do their due diligence on to make sure that Bo is vetted where he's at from a recovery standpoint before offering such a big contract.
that's a good point. And he's already kind of declining athletically. He's not a good defensive player, and he's not, for him to be a middle infielder, he's not terribly athletic. So
yeah, because the guy they had slide in behind him in the playoffs was actually a former Gold Glover, if I'm not mistaken. I can't remember who it was exactly, but Andres Jimenez, former Guardian
from the Guardians.
Figure.
Yeah.
Gold Glove middle infielder. So I think they were fine with whatever happened between the two of them. They were kind of covered. So
here goes Munetaka Murakami. That's the one that just signed with the White Sox, correct?
Yep.
So yeah, his projection was 5 at 80, and he ended up getting 2 for 34. So that shrunk. Projected to, they had the Mets in Boston, the East Coast teams are usually. So for him to end up, and then here goes the actual article announcing it. Damn. So they didn't mention
5 years terms. He's making an extra $1 million a year from 2 years, 34. So
he can get back out there in a couple of years. So they didn't have, that wasn't. Oh, here's a better one. Obviously, Schwarber's gone. Yeah, Rio Muto still out there. Yeah. Where is Suarez? He just gets smashed to the bottom like he didn't hit 50 home runs last year. I don't understand. Oh yeah,
yeah,
Robert.
all the other.
Robert Suarez went
position, like third and first.
Oh, there he is, right here.
There's no one left.
You say that one more time.
Yeah, Paul. Yeah, Eugenio, Paul de Jong, Yoan Moncada. These are all guys that are. Gio Urshela is on the list.
Oh my god!
Like these are all guys that these are like just added value depth pieces. They're not going to dominate a particular spot in the lineup.
It's interesting because I don't know why I thought Luis Arias was older than 28.
Oh, the Padres contact hitter?
Yeah, he just seems like an old man, but he's only 28 years old.
Harrison Bader's still out there talking center fielders.
Yes. I have Pete Fairbanks is still out there.
Oh, the Pirates?
The Rays.
Rays, yeah.
I mean, we had talks of being interested. Ryan O'Hearn.
Yeah.
Hey. I mean, how did Josh Bell find a home before Ryan O'Hearn? I mean, hey.
Well, we talked about Bell at the deadline last year too, briefly.
Yeah, the talk started in free agency last year when we didn't know who was going to be our first baseman. But I tell you what, I wrote his name down. I didn't even bother to bring it up, but he's another guy without a position. We know Harris doesn't like that, but hey, how many home runs he hit? 22 home runs. He's a switch hitter, so you don't have to worry about splits. Contact guy. Look at the K rate. Look at the gets on base. Hits for power. I mean, bro, the Twins got him one. I mean, he hits 20. He's going to hit 20 home runs every year. Defense is awful. He's not going to run fast, but we needed that contact. If he was a corner outfielder, sign it up. But unfortunately, he's 6'3", 260 pounds and can barely play first base. But we could have used a Josh Bell in the playoffs last year. You don't have to worry about. You don't have to worry about. Oh, you got lefties, righties. He's a switch hitter. You see the spray chart. I mean, not really spraying it. He's just probably just pulling it from left, pulling it to the right. But good power. Look at that. He was giving some of those a ride. And we gonna get up out of here soon. This one.
Someone mentioned a tweet yesterday, and this would just culminate the offseason, the frustration the last 2 years. They're like, watch Scott Harris sign like Isaiah Kiner Falefa and call it a day and call it a good offseason. I'd throw up in a bucket for the next month if that was the case.
I did see that as like a rumor or a projected whatever. I don't know why, but
I think it may have been more satire.
Well, that one, but I mean, I saw it as a legitimate like fit or whatever. I mean, he played for the Blue Jays, right? At the end of the year.
Well, I think so.
He played for the Pirates. He played for the Pirates, yes. But
long-time Pirate. Yeah, actually, I think he was an All-Star too for a year or two, if I'm not mistaken. I thought, if not a Gold Glover at one point. But
how do you spell his name? Falef?
It's Kiner Falefa. Kiner Falefa.
K-A.
Falefa, kind of like falafel, but Falefa. But
oh, there it goes.
He's a guy that
he ended with the Blue Jays,
but at the same time, I mean, he's a very below average hitter, and frankly, we needed a little more bat than defense last year.
Yeah, look at that. I mean, contact to the T, but look at that bat speed, launch angle, barrel. Ugh.
No,
it's like, not even worth it. if that guy is up and McGonagall is sitting in AAA, like,
oh my God. Oh my Lord!
Yeah, I think that's part of what he's alluding to is the fact that he said there's some young guys that are going to get some opportunities. Obviously, we added some. Now last year's 40-man, I don't think had as many young players, but this year they had to. This is the beginning of being forced to add some of these young players on the 40-man or losing them. Deyron Lorenzo, Valencia.
Well, who was the guy that got picked up? Remember? After the Rule 5, someone got drafted off the list that we didn't protect, and someone was like, how come we didn't protect him? I'm like, well, you only have so many guys, and if you're going to give these guys opportunities, well, guess what? It limits your opportunity to sign veterans.
I think his name was Petrus. He's like 6'8".
Yeah, big dude.
Is that his name, Petrus?
People were talking about. I'm like, well, you can't keep everyone.
I mean, he was good. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. His numbers look. Oh, Pettit, RJ Pettit. I mean, his numbers look good, and we really couldn't afford to lose any young pitching because we don't really have any. We did protect Andrew Miller, who's the lefty. But yeah, I mean, it was, if you didn't protect Pettit, someone was going to pick up Lorenzo or I think the one guy that probably could have slid through, and I don't know if
but to your point, like they hit all the names that you wanted them to protect. So it's kind of like, well, why are we going to criticize them after the fact? It's just the nature of the next step. So
so yeah, the one guy that we possibly could have got away with not protecting, but he's a Scott Harris guy, in my opinion. He walks, I think he had over 100 walks this year. But yeah, it's this guy, Trey Cruz, who is essentially a utility player. I think he can play some outfield, but as you can see, organizational rank not high, and you see his prospect score, not crazy because he's 27. He'll be 28 in July. So he's a lot older, but I mean, athletic, speedy, he can play a whole bunch of different positions. He walks a ton. He makes a ton of contact, and I think he hit like 15 home runs, but he's kind of your predecessor to like McKinstry, I would think.
I was just about to say, do you think he's a new age or not new age? Because they're not too far in age, honestly. I think
he's 30. I mean, 30. McKinstry's 30. Yeah.
So within 2 years, all right, that's fairly close to.
But you got to think McKinstry's time is coming up soon. He's not a starter.
Well, yeah, he's like a pseudo. Yeah, he's not a traditional starter, but he's definitely like their pseudo hybrid.
But in our best form, he's not. You know what I mean? Like in our best form,
Yeah,
you don't want him starting at third base ever, shortstop
no,
ever. You want somebody better than that. You want Bo Bichette before you want McKinstry.
he'd
When
be
it's
what you're hoping Parker would be in terms of a traditional leadoff hitter. Speed, line to line, not great power, but enough to turn a double into triple or a single into a double
you talking about
kind
Trey,
of
or you talking
deal.
about McKinstry?
McKinstry.
Oh yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
I mean, yeah, to your point, he would be a fringe starter at the top of the lineup if considering what he brings to the table and in terms of for the five tools, because he's not really a true traditional power guy. But yeah, I could see Cruz potentially being a replacement. Maybe, if Detroit doesn't do well this coming year, I don't know what Zach's contract is. I think he still has maybe one more year of options, maybe. Um, but if that's the case and your guys are struggling and a veteran team is like, hey, we're interested, you might move on from Zach to give him a chance at a playoff run and promote Trey to being that, now too younger version of him.
Yeah.
Thing
Yeah.
is, though, he would cost
Yeah.
him a 40 man, but I think he would be wiping 1-for-1 by moving Zach off and bringing him on.
Yeah. 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 And I think he's got family that's played in the major leagues as well. So he's kind of got that, in his blood. But yeah, he made some improvements this year. An average on base. I mean, look at the on base 411. I mean, the walks, 102 walks. That's
And maybe he can
exactly.
teach Riley Green a thing or two.
Oh man.
Or Colt or Carey.
Yeah, decent OPS, but yeah, the things that jump out to me is the amount of walks and the on base. So, and the fact that he can play a whole bunch of different positions. But that will do it. We kind of dragged it a little bit, but it's been a minute. And we found some stuff to talk about. Subscribe to the channel. We are now simulcasting between Bleachers and Speakers and also Corner to Copa. You're gonna find all in any like breaking news and stuff like that. I usually throw out a short on Corner to Copa, including the JHM news, which I posted last night. But yeah, I'm actually wearing his jersey right now. That's a little known fact. But yeah, if something else happens, we will probably have to do an emergency show, but you'll certainly at the very least get an announcement. And yeah, still some big names to go. I mean, Tucker is probably the biggest name outside of Schwarber, and he is still out there. So I think once Tucker goes wherever he goes, you're going to start seeing a lot of the, a lot of things fall into place. Still some, still got Framber Valdez and Ranger Suarez, not Robert, but Ranger is still out there. So
yeah, because one was a closer and one was a starter.
Yep, and Robert went to Atlanta.
Yep,
Atlanta making moves. So
and yeah, they were out of it early with their injuries, so they were really ahead of the start, and also a new manager for Atlanta too. No more Brian Snitker, so I think it was Weiss. Yeah, let's bring his pedigree from Colorado. That's going to do great in Atlanta. Sorry. Sidebar for those who don't know, I'm also a partial Braves fan due to some lineage, but that's kind of neither here nor there. But yeah, question of the day, ending into the end of the show is: will we get a Christmas gift next week from Scott Harris?
I want to say Torres was signed around Christmas. Now I need to look that up.
Last year.
Yeah, last year. Yeah. Last year signing with
so far we're getting nothing but Cole, and I'm not too
12/27 it says.
Yeah, right between Christmas and New Year.
Yeah. But he was working. He was working on Christmas. I remember him kind of talking about it. So the signing was official on 27, but he was burning the midnight oil on Christmas Day. So we need that again. It reminded me when you said Atlanta about Marcell Zuna still out there. I was going to talk about, make a comparison, Adolis Garcia or Marcell Zuna. Which one do you like better? Because they're kind of the same role, righty power bat, bigger guys, not defense, not really defensive juggernauts, but a nice little righty power bat in our lineup would have been nice. But yeah, Ozuna's still out there. I don't think Harris would put much into that, but hey, I would be happy with that. I think we're only a year removed off of Ozuna hitting like 37 home runs. And Atlanta's not a home run 39, and he hit 40 the year before. And he's
it's
still
definitely not a hitter friendly. It's skewed more towards pitcher friendly. It's spacious. It's definitely spacious.
Yeah, it's pretty big.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure that the ball flies in the summertime in Atlanta, but yeah, he hit 302 last 2 years ago. I mean, this dude was hitting for power and average, and he's older. He's 35. Look at that. Come on.
He's been there, done that, won that, and I think another name who was on that World Series team who was dealt to the went to the Giants on a 3-year deal originally in 24 is Jorge Soler, who hit that moonshot in the World Series. So he's only got 1 year left. If you're looking for some extra pop, I think he could be a guy that you could get maybe at the deadline or swing for the offseason right now. But I don't see it.
He's there right now. He's in Atlanta.
No, I think.
He's in LA.
Yeah. Currently with the Angels. The Giants signed him 2 years ago to a 3-year extension, and then he got traded to the Braves, and then dealt him to the Angels. So he'd be interesting.
Did he get in trouble for?
No, that was Ozuna. That he had the DA.
Oh no! For the performance enhancing drugs. Who am I thinking of?
I think so. You might be right. I
think that was him.
Could be. Yeah, 80 games. He was not eligible. That was Jerks and Profar. Sorry.
Profar, not Soler. Profar.
Padre. Yeah, not Jorge Soler, but yeah, Soler had that massive moonshot in the game-winning World Series opener in Houston when they beat them.
And man, and now we talk about bats. There was another name. He played for the A's. What is his name? I wanted to talk about him.
Infielder, like positionally, or outfielder?
Was he a third baseman?
Unless you're talking about Ramon Laureano.
No. What is his name? He got traded from the A's to A's trade. Damn.
Oh, Mason Miller and J.P. Sears were pitchers, though.
No, I'm thinking of a bat. Where?
Let's see here.
Did he play for the Phillies? He played at the Phillies? He got traded somewhere. A's trade outfield. Yeah, outfielder.
Oh, Red Sox A swing trade sending high strikeout righty to Boston.
Oh no, I know it is. He played for the Reds. He finished with the Reds.
Oh.
Reds trade deadline. Miguel Andujar.
Oh yeah, longtime Marlin, Miguel Andujar, and I think he played for the Yankees. He's been around. Yeah.
All right.
Andujar. I think I thought he played for the Yankees at one point.
This guy mashed left-handed pitching. I mean, damn it.
He was a Yankees draft pick originally.
So, is that who I'm thinking of?
Third base / left fielder, 30 years old, from the Dominican, played with the Reds last year after got traded from the A's, 2 years with the Pirates, and spent his first 5 years, at least at the pro level, with the Yankees.
So maybe what jumped out at me is the whiff rate and K rate. He's got a strong arm. He's a righty, left-handed. Well, he hit for a good average. Look, 318. Hit 318.
282 career average. It's pretty good.
822 OPS. This is a free agent, by the way. And then let me pull up his splits real quick, because his splits.
He's not asking for enough money. His minimum to blow is $20 million. You can't go under that and be a bad signing.
And then, so you look at his production: 318, 10 home runs, 44. I mean, This is like Jahmai Jones all over again.
He got cut after Pittsburgh picked him up when they re-signed Andrew McCutchen 2 years ago.
Oh, whoops, the splits didn't pop up. Here we go. Share this tab and stuff. All right, look at this. So
he had a torn meniscus in 2024 with the A's in his first year. And then he had core season-ending abdominal muscle surgery. So I think I understand why there might be some apprehension on him. Just
when was this?
Torn meniscus was early in 24, and then he ended the 24 season with core stomach surgery. So he did okay last year considering, but I don't think he's going to get what he wants. But he only made $3 million in arbitration last year, so he could get him for dirt cheap.
389 average against lefties. 986 OPS. It's just screaming Jahmai Jones Jr.
But Jahmai's faster. I guess it depends on what you're trying to bring in that at bat when you pinch it. Jahmai's contact, speed, can steal bases for you, outfield flexibility, and Duhar's more of a contact power, true.
But
power.
he batted 290 against righties.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Career average is 282. I mean, his
always
his worst days have already happened. I mean, eventually they'll be happening again on the back end of his career potentially, but yeah, I mean,
let's go to look at the splits here. 284 with none on, 362 with runners on, 358 with runners in scoring position.
This would be a move. Sign him and cut Vierling.
Easy.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Because look, I will live with if Parker's got to go down this year, so be it. But at least you have that defensive emergency player that can cover ground like no other if his bat still cannot come around this year. And then you still have Baez, McKinstry can help out. You still have some other players.
Who's going to cover ground? You're talking about Meadows covering ground or somebody else?
Meadows by far is the best coverage outfielder in the organization.
But I'm saying if you send him, you send him down. What do you mean?
He has options to go down to Toledo. If his bat cannot stay, then obviously you still have some other options to help. But I mean, this is a no-brainer. You get Andujar, you cut Vierling, you still have Baez, you still have McKinstry to help out in center field, and Parker would be if you make the playoffs, he would be a defensive replacement late game with a lead to ensure that your outfield is locked up. But yeah, I wouldn't mind it. Cut Vierling. There's only so many guys you need to give extended opportunities to, and at some point you got to move on. I
think they're just the him being hurt all last year. He seems like one of the guys that likable, yeah. whatever.
I've never heard anything about being a bad locker room guy or a bad person, so. And we've got some other Latino talent on the squad. So, I mean, you feel like he'd fit right in with that kind of persona.
You talking about Andujar?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Torres and Baez, they have a good old time.
You still got Miggy coming around a bit and those guys, so which is nice. And obviously you got Santiago, so as your base coach. So, yeah, but I think Jahmai just stays just because of the speed aspect, which we lack across the board.
I mean, I don't think you have to get rid of. Yeah. I think you can never have enough righties that mash lefties.
And he plays corner and third. I don't know what you're going to bank on defensively for him in Duhar, but I think he's just above average.
He does play third. Look, he had 109 at bats at third. So yeah, he played more third. Oh my God, there's literally no. I'm gonna tag Scott Harris right now. He plays third base. That's our best third baseman right there.
It could be a 1-year deal. You could pay him $7-8 million. It would be considered maybe overspending, but it'd be worth the chance.
Now, defensively, he's probably terrible. I don't know. I'd have to see what the breakdown is as far as outs above average, whether this is mostly in the outfield or in the field. But bro, and I don't think he played every day. They traded him, so I doubt he played every day. I'll take that for your starting third baseman, 318, 10 home runs and 44 RBIs. Look at the OPS. So he's obviously hitting for power.
Yeah, his whiff rate, 86%, K rate, 87%. He doesn't walk much, so it's telling you he doesn't whiff or strike out much, and he doesn't walk much, so he's putting the ball in play a lot.
That's literally what we need.
Fielding range, -7, so obviously not in terms of defensive coverage capability.
But I don't know if that's outfield or if that's more so.
True.
It's hard to.
It's better than most of what we got.
It shouldn't matter, honestly.
Arm strength, 94 percentile.
He's a little older, but we like old Yankees. They tended to play well with us. Look at his first year in New York. I don't even remember this. 92 RBIs.
So, all right. Last year, run value overall defensively, -5. What else here? Only 490 innings in the outfield. And to your point, it was fairly split between third and left, 238 in third and 217 in left, with only a few at first and right.
So mostly third.
Stats out above averages. Let's see here. So what are you saying? Looking at him at third base, yeah, it was by far third base was his worst defensive at -4 out of his -5. So neutral at first in Cincinnati. Yeah, let's see here. Lateral toward first base and third -1. Right-handed bat -2. Same with lefties. 61% success rate. This is outs above average. An estimated success rate is only 66%. So he declined more on the defensive side. So again, I think it'd be more to your point, bat only for the most part, limited defensive innings.
I'll take him if we need him at third, so be it. DH against lefty. Well, no, DH against lefties is Jones. But
yeah,
it doesn't matter. He hits for average against both. Look
yeah,
at his average. Look at his average as a Cincinnati Red, 359.
Yeah,
dude just rakes. This is what he does. He just.
You can pinch hit him late against lefties in a matchup, and you can start him against lefties early and pinch hit him early after 2 or 3 at bats.
Yeah, because versus lefties, you're not going to start Colt Keith at third. Start him.
Yep. Yeah, his average has only gone up each year, 250, 285, 318. His slug has kind of really gone up and down.
You can sign him to a short-term deal. You're not blocking anybody at third because Jace Young, when I saw that he was on, I forgot. I always forget that he's on the 40-man roster. I'm pretty sure he's on the 40-man roster. Pointless, useless. Trade him.
Yeah, I mean,
you DFA Malloy, who's actually done something at the major league level. He hit 8 home runs in 2024. Young has never hit a home run in the major leagues. Never, ever. He's slow and he's not a good defender. I don't know. Great AAA player. Hit like 28 home runs at Erie, I want to say it was. But
I'll say one other thing for Miguel. His max EV that he had this past year has not been as high since his very first year in the league in 2017. 111.4 exit velo. He has not had that speed since 2017, where he had 112.1. So he's
2017. Damn, he had like 5. He had 7 at bats in 2017.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
He
had a good year in 2018 though.
Yeah, I mean, sweet spot's down a little bit. Expected BA is steady at 260. Serviceable. Yeah, I mean,
he puts it in play.
Yes,
he puts it in play, and look at the spray chart. You got to close your eyes and picture Comerica Park.
Yeah,
look at the alleys, man. Not much opposite field, but
he's got 1, 2, 3, 4. This is last year's spray. 1, 2, 3, 4. He had 5 doubles and a triple and Oppo home run that was true down the right field line. So, but yeah, like 70-30 center to pole versus Oppo.
I just convinced myself all over again, and it took me like 5 minutes to remember his name.
But we're an hour and a half in.
Yes, we are. We were supposed to be stopped.
I got nothing else left to add other than Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, everyone out there traveling, safe travels. Hope everyone gets to spend it with family and friends that they maybe not spent as much time with, but we'll see if I guess I won't hold my breath for Scott Harris delivering a nice stocking stuffer, but we'll see. Like the Powerball winning numbers, we'll take a chance.
Hey, why not? Yeah. So we'll be back soon. Let's get up out of here. It's been a longest show I think we've ever had. We out of here.
Get your lick back. If a nugget